I heard that.
Oh, you heard that. You heard me do it?
I didn't hear anything else.
No. All right, whatever. This is No Holds Barred Special Edition, Seinfeld Chronicles, video only, exclusive to YouTube. JT and Aaron, along with our buddy Steve Bennett. Been here before talking Seinfeld. Good to have you back.
What's up, guys?
And the new season here tonight. We're into season 2. Wrapped up season 1. On a disappointing note, we were not a fan of the season 1 finale at all. We actually, if you go back and watch, we debated if it was the worst episode in the show's history.
We all said we would cancel the show after it.
Yeah, let me ask you that, Steve. Would you have canceled Seinfeld after season 1 in that time without knowing what was coming, just based on those 5 episodes?
I think if I would have invested in Jerry at all, I'd give him more than 5 episodes. So I probably would have signed him to like 8 more. If I made the original investment, I think I've seen enough. You know, if I'm whoever it was from NBC, whatever, one of the executives there, the famous executives from the 80s or 90s, if I'm willing to make that investment, I don't need to be that impatient. I'll give him another. Right. There's plenty of time in my year, you know, whether it be January like it ended up being, to give him another shot. So
yeah, and like we talked about, like season 1 ended in June, season 2 starts in January. So there's a chance they knew what was coming already. So they maybe picked it up based on that, right? Like they knew that things were improving as we went. So yeah. All right, well, let's get
I think when you invest in Jerry, you know there's going to be a little bit of, he's not an actor.
Right.
So you know you got to give him a little bit of time to grow into it.
He's not?
You know? No. He didn't have much experience acting before this.
Here's what I'm curious to see with season 2. I'm curious to see, when does George turn from the cool guy that you go to for your troubles into the trouble? When does Jerry transition from the whiner who goes to George for advice to becoming the guy that everyone comes to, the even Steven that doesn't really win or lose too much? He's kind of in the middle. When does Elaine turn into kind of more of a, again, not classy, but like just more of a
classy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, though. Like presented as not like she was in season 1, where she's almost just like a goofy Jerry type girl, right? And then when does Kramer stop being a real like creep weirdo like he is in season 1, where he's scoping out girls out the window, mocking Jerry for losing money in the stock tip? Like when is that? When does he leave the apartment? Like when does that all change?
So I think one thing that changes right away, and you had trouble with it in season 1, was the sets and how something always looked different to you.
Yeah.
This is the first episode they filmed at the Studio Center.
Okay.
In Studio City, California. So I think we should see stability now with the apartment and Monk's and those places. I would imagine for this, they have now built the permanent sets. I think wherever they were recording last year wasn't here. So they're finally home for the next 8 years or whatever. So we'll see if that plays out. Does it look right to us this time? So I know a few different times you just didn't think it looked right.
Yeah, so we'll see if that holds up too. And so I'm just curious to see when it starts to morph a little bit into the show. I know it's not going to get there right away, but when does some of the pieces start to come together? Because early on, it's like, yeah, George is, he's counting his money from hitting the stock. He's tipping waitresses. He's playing the guy that Jerry's coming to complain and have advice. So it's like, when does that shift?
This aired on January 23rd, 1991.
Yep.
It was supposed to air January 16th. 1991, but didn't, because that was the day the war started.
I was going to say the Gulf War. Yeah.
So unbelievable bad luck for them. They get picked up. They're finally going to come back. They got their spot at Studio Center. They're ready to roll here. All the promotion, and then a war breaks out, and it's NBC News coverage with Tom Brokaw that night instead of the show, and it airs the following week on the 23rd. So.
All right, well, let's get into it. It is The Ex-Girlfriend, Season 2, Episode 1. Like you said, January 23rd, 1991. We're queued up on Netflix. And we're going to hit play in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so still with the stand-up to open. I mean, that's there.
I like this bit. This is a funny bit, though.
I like it until the end. I think, like, this is really good, like how he breaks down the way they drive and the way they're always looking for the spots. I like the gum bit. Because I know this bit so well. I like the gum bit he's a bit to do, but I hate the end.
Still
curious
to
when
this day, I point the guy out in the car. Like when I'm driving, I'll think of this. Like, oh, there's Lane, pick a guy. You know.
I'm curious when the graphic changes too. It's still the block letter
Still the
Seinfeld.
block, yeah.
When do we get like the pizzazzy little graphic? We'll see when that pops up. No, it's exciting to start the new season because I really am curious how much changes or if it feels like an extension of season 1.
So I just find the best comedy bits like are still based in reality. Not that I like comedy that goes absurd too, but I don't love Jerry as absurdist, like driving backwards.
Right.
Fair enough. I think when I said I loved the bit, I was focused more on the first.
It's
10 lines
great.
of it too. You know.
Yeah.
So you asked a question, JT, and I think it's already happening.
Yep. There we go.
Like it's right away. George is like,
I almost said it before we started, but I was like, we'll let it play out. It's not going to take long for.
She can't kill me, right?
Yeah, this feels like 100% different. If you watch 5 and 6 episode, whatever, the finale and then this one together, it feels like a completely different character right away. Because we end episode 5 where he's, hit the lottery, basically. He won the stock bet that he made. He's counting the money. He's, laughing it up. He's smoking a cigar like he was on top of the world. He's got the big real estate job.
And now he's complaining. He's complaining that a girl asked him out and seduced him.
Yep.
Like he's blaming her for the whole relationship.
Yeah, we're like instantly into whiny George. Jerry's car is also not the car. Like we're so used to him driving more of like a more modern car. Like this is more like a Kramer Costanza family car that he's in right now.
He switches to German engineering pretty quickly.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Or Swedish.
Yeah.
The Swedish, I believe.
Okay, I thought he had a Benz or
it's a what's he say? Because at Putty, when the Putty one when he first debuts,
right.
He's like, what if it's any kind of Swedish car? I think Elaine says when they're in bed.
George's impression of what's her name?
Marlene.
Marlene is so funny because it's like right on what she sounds like.
Yeah, like we talked about a couple episodes in a row, the George of the last season really felt like an extension of his Pretty Woman character. Like that's really what it felt like. And now it feels like, okay, you got to not be that. You got to be more Larry David and less whatever that, successful asshole friend, businessman guy.
So George tells Jerry there that he told the girl he loves her. Much later in the series, he says he's only ever said that to a dog.
That's right. Yes.
So
the continuity.
Yep.
Elaine's still got kind of the hippie
Elaine is wearing the cowboy jacket.
Yeah.
And what's the deal with the not to say what's the deal, but what's the deal with the middle seat? Is it a station wagon? I've never had a car with a middle seat like that.
No, that was a thing in those cars. Kramer even says that George says it in a later episode when Kramer is going to give a ride to his mom. He says he has the bench seats like you really like. I think that was just an option in those cars back then was to have a bench seat in the front row. So
my dad had a car with the bench seats in the front. Yeah.
I find this conversation with Elaine such a perfect Seinfeld conversation because she's talking about how like this relationship has disintegrated from like a chit chat to like barely hello to now just walking by each other in the hall.
Right.
And this feels like something Larry David would pick on.
Yeah.
And this is another thing I've thought of my whole life, right? Like at college when you'd hook up with a girl and then by the 13th week of the semester, when you walk by each other, I thought this my whole life. I thought about people who have downgraded in my life to just, Well,
are you suggesting that Elaine is banging this man?
She may or may not have. Judging by her track record, I'm led to believe that.
It's possible that she did.
She's had many men in this series. But
I'm curious to track too the Jerry and Elaine presentation because they're very much presented still as flirty in season 1. Like I'm curious when they become more friendly than flirty. I know we talked about this last episode. I know they fall back into
the rules.
They try it, right? They try it again. And I think that's the official end of it. But we'll see.
This phone bit too is another Seinfeld great bit where like he's just trying to know if he dialed the wrong number or not. The guy keeps hanging up on him. I love it. He's so true to life.
That's the 10th time Kramer enters. Someone took the time to
that's amazing.
Count them. In this episode, we have entrance 10 and entrance 11.
I'm shocked we didn't do that, Aaron, when we did the meet thing. That seems like something we would have done for sure.
I have the list. I saved it, so anytime I'm on, I'll mention what it is.
I feel like we get a little more into Kramer trying to force the cantaloupe on cantaloupe. That's the band.
Is that
Cantaloupe
what you call
on.
it? Do you call it cantaloupe? No. Is that what you call it?
That's a song. Us three sing. Yes.
Oh, okay.
But Fantasia. It's cantaloupe.
What I love about this too is once he forces it on him, Jerry concedes that it's good, but that's like it's not the fine. All right, it's great.
Right. Well, is this already the Joe's?
Yeah, they're talking about Joe's.
But that's a while later, right? With the bad fruit and all
It's
that.
the first mention of Joe.
Yeah.
It's crazy they bring that back because that's way later.
My Nona loved cantaloupe, but she couldn't say it. And so she said fruit. The fruit.
This fruit. Now, do you think
the fruit? We knew that she meant cantaloupe because she couldn't say cantaloupe.
Do you think Kramer cut up the cantaloupe and is using the shell as a bowl, or is he skewering pieces out?
Like ice cream,
definitely
like you would ice cream it.
Yeah, he's
right?
definitely smoothing it out. I love that he's got it on the stool.
Yeah, like a table.
So now this, all right, now we're feeling like Seinfeld, right? George comes dancing in. He's recapping the play-by-play of what happened. And we're moving faster. That was the one thing with season 1 we talked about where, like, the scenes seemed to be longer and the show felt a drag a little bit more, whereas now it feels like we're already cooking along a little bit.
Yeah.
30 seconds ago, Jerry was alone on the phone.
Yeah.
Since then, Kramer's walked in. George has walked in. Right?
He's had two very different interactions.
Yeah.
One is someone trying to shove cantaloupe down his throat, and George comes in with this high energy story. Yeah. Son of a bang, son of a boom. I love it. Son of a bang, son of a boom.
Is this George's first great scene? I think it may be. Like, this is like classic Costanza now, recapping this story with all the gestures and the over the top presentation.
I love too that they drop in that like he did it in the kitchen and it was risky because of all the knives.
There you go. Kramer doesn't give a shit about any of it. Just wants to try the cantaloupe.
I hate when people make you eat shit. Like just but like when someone offers you something and you're like, I just don't want. It's not that I don't like it. I just don't want it. I just ate chocolate. I don't want to eat like something. Leave me alone. You
must not be Italian.
My wife's a fake Italian, so
we spend our whole lives being forced to eat food. You get used to it.
My wife's rabbit on Easter.
Yeah. My wife's her dream is to be an Italian grandmother, so she just wants to feed everyone.
I love mine. I miss her.
I love this discussion about the books too. Like, why do you keep them once they're read? Like, are they trophies? Like...
Yeah, it is a good point. I've actually thought of that because I had the Breaking Bad book, and I don't know. I gave it to someone, I guess, because I don't have it anymore. And every now and then it crosses my mind, and I'm like, I wish I had that book. But then I'm like, well, why? Like, am I really going to sit and read it again? Like, why does it matter?
Yeah.
I think it's more if you pay for the book, you feel like you've paid money. Yeah. So why would you want to give away something you bought?
Especially you could bring them to a store and sell them.
Right. Like Amazon was intended to in the beginning.
Yeah.
I love here too. Sorry, Aaron.
Oh, go.
We were talking about earlier. If you're Littlefield or whoever from NBC and you took the risk, you're pausing it right about now and saying, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they've come out strong. This is a very strong beginning.
You feel like you made the right choice, I think. This long into it. You're like, okay.
And they're starting to hit the details too. Like even the books that Jerry has to go get from Marlene, they're all self-help books. Yeah. They all have super pathetic titles.
She's a good-looking Jerry girlfriend here. Hot.
She's up there. Is she the hottest so far?
Yeah.
So far, yeah.
And ridiculous George girlfriend.
I read that one of the people that auditioned to be one of the girlfriends, I'm not sure if it's Jerry's or George's, eventually was Susan.
Oh, okay.
Didn't get it here, got Susan later.
It was good casting. I liked her, Susan.
Yeah.
It was well done. She was like good enough where she's out of George's league and she knows it.
But not too attractive.
But not, like where it's like absurd,
Yeah.
Not a Jenny McCarthy, if you will.
Right.
Correct. So this is like the Seinfeld at Seinfeld. Like they both have this ongoing girlfriend problem, and they're both alternating bitching about it to each other.
And more answering machine stuff. Last time I was on, we talked about that.
Yep.
Them and the answer machines.
So I find they're so blasé too that he's dating his ex.
Right.
Like there's no discussion about it at all.
Well, yeah, I think it's because he just really didn't like her. It's not like she broke up with him and then Jerry did. I think he was just like,
Yeah.
have at it.
It's and you're right about how fast it's moving because Jerry's already fed up with her.
Yeah, she's already broken in the span of this episode. George has broken up in the span of 3 scenes. George has broken up with her. Jerry's dated her, and now Jerry's aggravated with her. And like, so yeah, we're it's gone to the season 1 of like it felt like nothing really happened. It was like we talked about. You feel like you were just getting dropped in their day for a little bit and then left. Whereas now it feels like we're starting to get like a story.
Yeah, like in theory, this is like a couple of weeks later.
Right.
You don't just get a chiropractor
appointment. If she is that annoying, it could be like one. But yeah, I guess he's not getting a chiropractor appointment that quick. But
Do you guys go to the chiropractor?
I love the chiropractor. Do you go?
Yeah.
I don't go as often as I used to.
I don't go because I'm too hairy. I don't like massages.
They don't.
And I don't like when I don't like when they crack my neck.
No.
You can get them to do everything else except the neck crack if you want.
Yeah, but then you got to tell them like every time. No, I just really don't like massages. No, thank you. Like, all right.
It doesn't sound like a place for you the way you're describing it.
I don't like when they crack my back or neck or touch me.
Yeah,
the back
I don't like talking to them.
I like the back cracking, but I don't like. When
I actually get jealous when I watch like on Facebook. Sometimes I'll get the little reels come up of like chiropractor stuff, and I'm like, oh, when I see some of those insane cracks, I'm like, I want that.
I just want to feel that relief once in my life.
Yeah.
It's
scary. The neck thing is scary.
Yeah. And especially like doctors will tell you you're going to have a stroke too.
Right.
Like I had a doctor straight up tell me like, if you go there, you'll get a stroke, which is just bullshit. My last chiropractor was this little woman. She was like maybe 4'9", but she was amazing, but she had to jump on me. Like she would fold me and then like, like have to jump on me to do anything. It was great.
Yeah. I'm due to go. Now I just go if I'm like feeling a little off. I was going for maintenance. Usually what I'll start to do is when and it's probably isn't a problem for you, Aaron, but Steve can relate. When your deductibles met and it becomes like $0 to go for us, that's when I'll like go like every other week or whatever. When I'm like, well, it's basically free. I might as well go now. Like right now, it'll cost me like $50. So I'm like,
I can't remember the last time I had a deductible past March, but
right. So yeah, you just go whenever.
But I think I was like 23. I was playing a men's hockey game. And I was looking this way, and I turned around, and I got wrecked. It was an accident, but I just couldn't walk right. I was like, I got to do something. And my dad's like, go to the chiropractor. And I did like the back cracking part was great, but the neck thing, I can't do it.
You know, I did last year. That was like a lifesaver. I had this real bad, right behind my shoulder, like this muscle knot, and it would, no matter what I did, it was constant pain. I couldn't sit, I couldn't drive, and I ended up at PT doing cupping. And it was like life-changing. I did it, I think 2 or 3 times, and it went away. After everything else I did, they did the electric thing, like everything I did, it would not even budge. They did that cupping like twice, and it was gone. It was amazing.
Okay, so now Marlene and Jerry are in the car, clearly about to have sex, right?
Yeah. So are they trying to like fight it because of George? Is that what the deal is here? Like have they been resisting?
But he was talking to George about how annoying she was.
Yeah, but she's hot.
Yeah.
But like, what was the consternation about kissing? Does she think he's not doing it because of George? Is that the problem?
Is it because he doesn't want to kiss her because she kissed George?
Or he just thinks he hates her, maybe.
Like he's balancing the annoyance with the hotness.
And she maybe think it's because of George, maybe. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah. Miscommunication.
Here we go. Kramer with the bowling shirt. Now we're
show off his golf swing.
You mentioned it last episode, Aaron. Like they weren't playing to his strengths, but we've already seen a lot more physical stuff out of him here.
Yeah. Just that makes me laugh. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's so stupid because it's so stupid. Like, and it's like he's showing this swing too to someone who will never appreciate it.
Right. And Jerry looking at the ball was great.
Oh, this is so good too. The stinky cantaloupe.
You can't eat that.
Stinks.
So
is this the one where he gets banned? Why did I think
he's about to get banned? I think.
Oh, I thought that was a later episode.
So did I.
But Joe comes back, right? When they do the mango.
Joe comes back. Yeah.
Is it the mango?
The mango
yeah. I didn't realize this was the banned one. Here we go. Marlene leaving sexy messages.
Jerry, you ever taken a bath in the dark?
The answer machine. It's
I
such
feel like
big part of this world.
I feel like Jennifer Smith could probably do a wicked Marlene.
Probably. I think it's just her.
Yeah. It's Jenny.
Yeah, it is the Mango 3 seasons later that he comes back.
Right, I thought so. Okay. I knew he was in a later one. And that's the episode Jerry wears the Yale shirt. I don't know why I remember that, but I remember it. Right? Isn't it Yale? I think he wears. It's like a blue with the white.
Yeah.
I think it's that episode. Not just wrestling. I have a ridiculous memory of stupid things.
No.
Here's some great
I love that
Yale
silence.
memorabilia here. Look at that. Pretty sick, right?
There you go.
It's a banner they handed out on banner night.
I lied. It's not Yale. I think it's Queens.
Well done.
It's Queens College. He has a
You
shirt.
earned that
Queens
one.
College. It is Queens College.
Yeah, I was thinking Yale.
I
don't know why.
We missed it earlier. Sinatra. George is like, who am I seeing in there? Sinatra.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good line.
I'm
The
only
last-
paying half.
The last ever Seinfeld aired the day Sinatra died. I remember that.
There you go.
Good.
Yeah.
That fucker deserved it. He was an asshole because of his politics.
Very dirty. It's very dirty.
Trying lightly on your Sinatra blasphemy there. Kid Rock, I let go, but Sinatra.
When are they going to put Elaine in
Careful.
decent clothes? When are they going to put her in something that looks okay?
She
She's in all
looks
these like
really,
baggy,
really-
frumpy shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah, because in theory, she's the hottest one. Right?
I do like
Yeah.
her hair. There, her hair looks nice there.
She's got a good chin. I like the chin.
She looks good from the neck up here.
It's just the outfit is ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
they're not. It's like since the last 3 episodes or so, they purposely like made her look
Have they
hippie and frumpy versus like attractive or cute.
have they given her a job yet or anything? Not.
I don't think she's talked about any of that.
because like if I recall, she's living with an actress, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like that. This is what that person would look like. I know a lot
Right.
of I knew a lot of young actresses, and this is what they all look like.
Yeah.
They're all stupid too.
So maybe they considered that for her.
Mm,
Yeah. I don't know when. I think the publishing is her first job, right?
Yeah.
It's like so. I think she's in that already because when isn't her dad the one with her dad is this season, right?
Yeah.
With the jacket.
Where they go? Where
The
they gotta eat 'em?
jacket.
Yeah,
That's the season.
The
Okay.
jacket. Yeah.
The because he bitches about Pendant. He goes, "Where are you working now?" And she says, "Pendant Publishing." He's like,
Hmm.
"Those bastards wouldn't publish my book or whatever." So I think I don't know if she gets the job there or if she's already there, but
I just don't know if it was a retcon or not. Like I don't know if they've given her anything, and they were maybe
I don't think they
thinking
have.
something.
I don't think that she's mentioned anything job wise.
I love too that like because we talked about how Jerry being like the beacon, how everybody comes to. This is exactly what's happening here.
Yeah, yep. And this is the most she's been featured.
Yeah. And that's great delivery at the end. Like when she's like that, just like you know that I'm aware of it, and then stuffs the disgusting cantaloupe in her mouth.
Spits it out.
Yeah, it's gross.
Here we go. Now we got George looking like George.
Yeah.
Oh, that face too that he just had.
He's wearing
Sour
the same
face, the
sweater
gray
I am.
hoodie. Yep. Jerry's got the button down. Like we've completely reversed now.
Like if you, I guess I'd feel like George does in this instance. Like if I really didn't like an ex and a friend was interested,
Right.
And that answers our question from earlier. He was trying to not break guy code, Jerry.
Yeah.
He hadn't told him yet.
And he's like, I really don't care. But I
Yeah.
think too, like we're calling it an ex, but like we don't know have they talked about how long they were in this relationship?
Long enough for an I love you.
I
Right?
guess, but he might have said it quick though, and George. It's possible.
well, if she said it quick and he felt pressured, right?
Right.
But it's funny because Jerry is an overthinker. Is going to take this the way of
And
like,
now-
all right, well, there's
now-
something seriously wrong with this woman. If George is this fucking happy,
It's a turnoff for him now.
And this is such perfect Seinfeld too that like
Yeah.
George isn't mad that like he's dating his ex. He's mad that Jerry
He paid the
paid the
bill.
rest of his chiropractor bill.
Yeah.
He's livid. Oh
Guess
god, the
what?
fucking fly too is so funny.
swat a fly. God, this like they turned him around in 6 months to a completely different character.
What
Like that
can
George
happen?
episode 5 is not doing any of that right there.
No.
Now he's like a paranoid freak. Like they must have really amped up like with Larry just saying you gotta be way more like paranoid and neurotic and everything else.
Yeah. Well, they just shifted Jerry to the straight man.
Yeah. Which is brilliant because I think they realized like that's probably his best role given the lack of acting.
You know what's funny is that I'll say this: the straight man in a comedy piece The straight man is usually the role that requires the better actor.
Yeah.
And it's not here, which is interesting.
I think it's just that his delivery is so stilted, it comes across more as
Yeah.
like the straight man because he can just give the sarcastic little answers. And
She doesn't think he's funny. That's hilarious.
I saw your act.
You know what's funny about it too is a lot of people who probably only knew Jerry from his bits at the show are probably like, yeah, I get it. His act does suck.
It's such a good line at the end. You're a cashier, when she's like, I can't be with someone I don't respect what they do.
You're a cashier. I love how he's like desperate now. Like he was ready to dump her, and now he's like desperate to do anything to.
He's blaming the audience.
Yeah. Is this the end here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's get through our little categories here real quick from our old PlaceToBeNation.com article series. Best character. I think Kramer was. I think Kramer was close in this one. He was really good, but I think to me it's George. I think you get this from the fly to the chiropractor to the celebrating being done with Marlene.
Yeah. I agree. It's George, but if Kramer was in it a bit more, he might have taken it.
Right.
I think you got to give it to George just for this kind of metamorphosis in his character, you know what I mean? And the depreciation of it. George showed up tonight.
Yeah. And that scene in the diner is such like it's like it goes from like laid back to furious to scared. Like in a minute. Like
so he didn't get banned here. So is this the first carryover story we kind of get too? Like does that go right into the next one where he goes and gets banned for return?
The mangoes
when he returns. All right, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So they're kind of hinting at it here, which is cool. Like three
seasons later they come back to it. Yeah.
All right, best story. I think the breakup probably. The fruit part is kind of cool, but I think it's George.
Yeah, of course.
Probably. Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah.
If we had seen more of the Elaine one.
Right.
I like that. I like the idea of that.
It's a good bit. Yeah, good idea.
But that was only told to us like secondhand, right? Instead of us seeing it.
Sure.
All right. For key character debuts, honestly, there was no big ones. Marlene, I guess, a little bit, but we did have noted the booth. This is our first middle booth. At Monk's sighting that we had in this episode.
Like I said, I think in the beginning, first time they're sat at the studio center, right? So maybe things are, and we didn't notice the apartment. We didn't think to bring it up, so maybe that was
right
because it was just right. You know,
just what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Some iconic moments. Jerry describes breaking up, like pulling off a Band-Aid. Kramer's obsession with fresh fruit and golf. Yep, golf.
Yeah.
Jerry says fruit's a gamble. I know that going in. What's $75? What am I seeing Sinatra? I pay what I say. That was George, and you're a cashier from Jerry. Some cool moments. I think this one picks up from our last one. It's definitely better. We're seeing more of the world as we know it. The last one I think I gave like a 3. I'd say this is like a 5. I think it's a perfectly acceptable episode.
I think it's trending up a bit more. I'd probably go 6 on this one because I think it's got some pretty memorable stuff, and I think it's really refreshing to see the formula click in.
You know what I think it's like? It's like we drafted a quarterback in the first round, and the first season we never got to see, except for maybe a real throw here or there, why we drafted him in the first round. But this is week 1 of the second season, and he goes 25 for 35, 315, 3 touchdowns, and he let a fourth quarter comeback. And we say, okay, that's who we drafted. There he is. And he's maybe not Drew Brees yet, but we can see Drew Brees out there.
There's a reason.
I'm with Aaron. I'll give it a 6. I thought it was really strong start to the season. And you see why, you see the seeds of why Seinfeld is on the level it's at.
Yeah.
You see
you can see the planting of it for sure. And they're setting up some long-term stuff. Like, I don't think they even knew they were doing it, but planting the seeds of returning the fruit and all that stuff is like, it's kind of cool to see. So, all right. So we'll be back at some time. This is kind of pops up when we get there with these episodes, but they're always fun to do. Check out everything at NorthSouthConnection.com. Has all of our video audio content. You can follow us on social media. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at North South Connection. Subscribe on YouTube. You can do that right now while you're watching this. It only takes a second. Check out Steve at Sportscasters on Twitter, and that's his podcast as well, celebrating his banners. We are out. We'll talk to you whenever.
Hi, Paula.
Podcast about nothing.
Bow.